All right. Well, don't take it personally. Yeah, I figure you did. There is. Sure. Let me get it for you.
Will you just let me have them and then I can hand them to people when they come in?
All right. Well, I don't know why there's technology issues seems like every day every Sabbath it's something different. But anyway. What are the chances we're going to make it through today's lesson? We won't. We won't. So for those of you like Wendy, do what Wendy did. Don't do what Aaron did.
Yep.
You work through it. It's not too much. I mean, it's just not. Especially now, there's a lot less reading and a lot less responding. But do it again. You see something different. I mean, like every time, there's something that's different than the time before. So anyway. Tom, I'm sorry, you're going to have to grab a microphone. I'm not the wireless ones. You're just going to have to hold it. Sorry. I know it's all the politeness just went out the window, right? Let's pray and we'll get started. Father in heaven, thank you so much for your love for us. Thank you for the warmth and dryness inside, though it's cold and damp outside. And we pray for your Spirit to be with us now as we consider the stories that you have given us, the examples, that we would allow your Spirit to work on our hearts to show us what you would have for us today. In Jesus' name, amen. There's lights, so push that gray button right there on your thumb, and you might have to hold it in. Yeah, that's on. Mm-hmm. So how many of you were like, oh, I can't wait to learn about discipleship? Maybe like 2 people. The rest of you are like, whatever. So if you are not excited about discipleship, why? Well,
I've got a question.
No, I asked a question.
No. I get one once in a while. If discipleship is hard, what's the big problem?
So back to my question, please. You can address that question in your response, but why were you not excited about discipleship?
I think it requires sacrifice.
What? Wait, what?
Discipleship requires self-sacrifice.
And we're not all that interested in that. Is that what you're saying?
That's just a burden.
We just mentioned a minute ago how we are, in this nation, we are just the top of the chain as far as everyone. Even the person that's lowest in our society is still better off than 95% of the rest of the world. So yeah, there's if there's an issue with discipleship, then Perhaps the issue is probably with us. Hopefully, we're going to learn some things that will inspire us to be a little more open to what's the deal? All the ladies are on this side, and all the men are on this side, except for Miss Brenda. Luckily, Gary made her sit over there.
That way at a lot of churches.
All right, our key verse is John 8:31 and 32. Would someone with a microphone in their hand up to their mouth please read our key verse? John 8:31 and 32.
Then Jesus said to those Jews who believed him, "If you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free."
Okay, so I think you'll recognize why this is our key verse, but how does Jesus define being a disciple? Okay. Abiding in his word. I mean, the quote, if you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed. So how do you abide in the word? You have to know it, put it in your heart.
I was going to say that you have to hide it in your heart and practically apply it to your issues of life, and then you will be a disciplined or a disciple by nature.
All right. You used a term that's interesting to me. Hide it in your heart. What is the potential problem with hiding the word in your heart? No one sees it. Yeah. No, I don't disagree. In fact, it's biblical, right? But we do need to be careful that in the act of hiding the Word of God, we're not actually hiding it from others in our lives, right?
I was also following it up by saying that you apply it to your issues
Right.
of life.
Then but
See, it's almost like by the fruit, you don't have to quote the Bible every time you say you react to something. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Right.
But I say in my heart, I go, well, it is written. And then whatever that thing is that it applies to, that I believe that I am being faithful.
yeah. Now, what comes after abiding in His Word?
Go back to the word abiding. Doesn't that just mean spending time with it?
It's certainly a relationship, right? It's more than just well, in our marriage scenario, if she leaves for work, or if I leave for work, and the other one's at home, can we abide with each other still? Well, I mean, that's actually the response that I was expecting and would want.
Inviting a response.
Just not so emphatic. But the answer is yes. We don't stop being married just because one of us has left to go to work, right? So the relationship is still there. The things that I do when she's not there, the things that she does when I'm not there, still reflect in that relationship. And and the same is true with God.
How about living within? To abide.
Oh, yeah, there you go. So back to my question, please. What follows abiding? Okay. Fruit.
If you abide in the Bible, you learn things.
You
Okay.
know the truth.
Oh, thank you. You're actually reading the Bible to answer the question. He says, If you abide in my word, you are my disciples indeed. Right? That's the first part. Second part, and there's a conjunction there. You shall, one, know the truth, and two, the truth will make you free.
Okay, so Pastor Conley, if you said set you free, you have an issue with that.
Yeah,
Like,
yes.
The term that people use are set you free.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah. So, to me, the kind of the difference is, and that is a nuanced semantic, but I think it is an important one because in the worldly context, it's the truth will set you. In other words, once you know the truth of a situation, now you're free to make a good decision.
Of your own accord, or your own
Right, of your own knowledge, right. But that's not what Jesus is saying. He's saying the truth will make you free is very different than just setting us free. We already are free to decide, but it's only in knowing the truth that we become made free. And that goes right back to what we just learned in righteousness by faith. Understanding that truth makes us free. So here's my next thought here. I wonder what truth he's talking about and what freedom it brings. Does the truth about righteousness by faith bring freedom?
Truth regarding salvation.
The what?
The truth regarding salvation, and it makes you free from the penalty of sin.
Okay. So if the truth about righteousness by faith brings freedom, what does it bring freedom from?
Being a God in your own head.
The wages of sin, being a God in your own head, fear, guilt.
Results of sin.
The results of sin,
Penalty.
the penalty. You get the feeling it's not the answer I wanted yet? What does it give freedom from? It gives freedom from trying to perform for salvation. That's what we have a difficult time with, is we have, our entire society is based on performance reviews, right? Whether you realize it or not, whether you go to a restaurant, the waiter doesn't take care of you, the food's a little bland, are you going to go back? Likely.
Well, it's got a 100% failure rate.
Say again?
I said if you get salvation through performance, it's got a 100% failure rate.
Yes, it does. That's for sure. The freedom from performance-based salvation is the greatest freedom ever bestowed on us. If we don't recognize this, if I don't recognize this, then I don't have a clear understanding of what sin really is. Does that make sense? I think a lot of us I think that I don't contemplate the cost of sin often enough in my life. And what sin costs, what sin results in, because how often do I fail and I say, oh, Lord, forgive me, and then I go about my business. Like, oh, God well, I can wipe that one, I can erase that one off the board because he asked for forgiveness. It was Christ's blood that made it possible for him to forgive me in that moment. He had to die on the cross for it. For every little thing, for every big thing. So, moving into our definitions, what does the word disciple mean to you? So we kind of talked about this as an introduction last week. And so you should have had a little bit of a, you were here last week, you were kind of heads up. What does disciple mean to you?
Follow someone.
Okay? So can I just put follow? What? Student? Learner? Well, I'm okay with both because we wouldn't necessarily consider ourselves students as we learn, in every situation. Okay? So, say again,
Practice. That's what we're.
practicer. Well, Tom, for you, I'll make it work.
Just thinking of the concept.
Okay. Now, next word. What does disciple mean? Deja vu, right? But
Are you doing noun now?
Deal with the dictionary said, oh,
so, so a noun disciple is a person, right? Someone who follows or who's a student, who's a learner, who is a practicer. Okay? What about verb disciple?
To teach.
Okay? What else?
Try to be an example.
Live.
Ah. Does that work for what you were saying? Just 4 letters. The whole thing. Okay. All right. So, how many of you would consider yourself a disciple? Okay. How many of you would believe that you disciple?
Imperfectly.
Why better?
Whether you recognize it or not, you disciple.
Yeah.
Because you teach people, you lead people by your how you live. Whether you recognize it or not, whether you accept it or not, even. It's just happens. If you're around anybody, you are discipling people.
We're a disciple for Christ or a disciple for Satan.
Or not.
For Satan.
Yeah.
That one, the verse that comes to mind is by their fruit you will know them.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Top of page 2. When you hear the word disciple, is that what that is?
Yep.
When you hear the word disciple, what do you think of?
disciples of the Bible, because we hear that before Jesus' ministry.
Okay.
A follower of someone who is admired.
A follower of someone who is admired. Okay.
And then I have Jesus, obviously.
So we don't use the term disciple much anymore. If we do say the word, it usually means one of the 12, right? If you're using it singularly.
It has a negative side to it.
I was going to say, but when we use it otherwise, outside of the biblical use of disciple, it's usually negative.
No, the negative, I'm thinking most disciples get killed.
Oh. So I was thinking that when you have the extremists in our society, the cult, an occult situation, there's usually a discipleship mentioned there. Oh, they were disciples of this person or that person, and that's usually in the negative. That's how I was thinking. But yeah, a disciple biblically it didn't turn out well for them physically, but certainly otherwise it was.
There's a lot of self-anointed disciples. Beware.
Well, yes. So looking up the word, what do you find as the definition of the noun version of disciple? I mean, did you look it up or did you say, I already know what it is?
Looked it up.
Did you see anything that was different than what you had thought?
It put the word personal in there, a personal follower
Right.
of Jesus. But it also talked about being a teacher. as a
Yes.
disciple.
Yeah, you're right. If you are, the verb version of it makes it to be that way.
Yeah, one who accepts an assistance for his doctrine. But I learned a new word, adherent.
Adherent? Really? One of your new favorite words now, isn't it?
I believe for advocate for that.
Maybe it's kind of like being an athlete. You can be pretty good or pretty lousy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you have to practice to be good. Practice.
Yeah.
For others.
I like that word advocate,
Mm-hmm.
advocate for that belief.
Yeah. Which goes to a term that we use as apologetics. Okay. So now that we have at least a less muddy understanding of what disciple means, let's go to our first reading in Genesis 12. We'll read verses 1 through 4. Genesis 12, 1 through 4. What do we see there? Oh,
Now the Lord had said to Abram, Get out of your country, from your family, and from your father's house, to a land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you, and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse him who curses you. And in you all the families of the earth shall be blessed. So Abram departed as the Lord had spoken to him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran.
all right. I asked you what stands out to you from this passage in relation to being called by God.
Being chosen for a specific purpose.
Being chosen for a specific purpose, okay? Get out of your country.
Yeah, for me, it says it on down where they're going, but, in those 4 verses, it's like, I'd be needing to know what I needed to pack, what kind of clothes I needed. I mean, it's like in these 4 verses, it doesn't tell me where I'm going.
What's the weather going to be like? I'm packing for summer, I'm packing for winter.
But the verses say you might have to leave everything.
Yeah. But
Get
he
out
did.
of your country, from your family,
Mhm.
and from your father's house. Doesn't that seem redundant?
No, it seems specific.
Okay.
He was supposed to leave.
Everything he ever knew.
At least Lot.
All right, so what's interesting, what is it that is king in Bible? What is it that's king?
Context.
Context, right? Context is king. So in chapter 12, verse 1, we see, now the Lord had said to Abram, get out of your country. Well, what was before that?
The days of Terah.
See, now, you guys are all getting a little glimpse as to why I am how I am. This is how I grew up. Now, Gary and I weren't necessarily particularly close in relation, in physical relationship, but our dads were. Fruit does not fall far from the tree. Thank you for that So what's right before verse 1?
The story of
Leave your
Abraham's
country.
family.
Here,
Oh, and Haran.
here.
So this is the second call.
Well, what we have here is Abraham being Abram. He hasn't been named Abraham yet. He's being asked by God to do something. And that something that he's being asked to do is not small. It's significant. In fact, it's going to change the world. It's going to change the course of humanity. And when he doesn't say, leave your father. He waited until his father died. Then he says, you don't have that connection anymore. You need to get away from these people because these people are not good for you. And in fact, I'm going to show you where to go and all that. So number one for me, it was that God didn't tell Abraham to leave until after his father had died. That's why, please always read context. Always. If I just give you the verse in 12:1-4, I want you to read 12:1-4, but I'm expecting that maybe you'll back up a little bit. Maybe you'll go forward. I get context of those 4 verses. At that point, God asked him to leave, quote, your relatives, right? Leave your father's house. This would be a difficult thing for me and probably for most who have that community of family. I'm thinking of 2 sisters specifically who have only left LJ to visit other states. Have you ever been out of country? Yeah. You went to France.
Yeah.
Has Gina ever been out of country?
Well, she's been to Puerto Rico, which is,
How difficult would
We're
it
going,
be?
yes, we've been on a cruise and we're going on another cruise, but together.
Well, I mean, for example, I have an uncle that was born, lived, and worked within a 5-mile radius his whole life.
Wow.
And he lived till 80-something.
Number 2, verse 2 starts with the conjunction and, indicating that there's something that comes before. That something is leaving everything that he knew, land and family, customs, to go somewhere foreign to him, right? There was a blessing promised to the response. God told him to leave his family, but some of his family came with, right? Have you ever thought, because until this, have you ever thought, here God is telling him, get away from your family. That's going to be tough, just because as we think about our family, how we feel like maybe our family has lifted us up. If his whole family was like Lot, or if Lot was the best of the family, it seems more clear why God says you need to get away from them. This isn't going to work for me.
We have no record that he asked his wife to go, do we?
No.
To me, it parallels the parable of the sower in the New Testament. The world is, the field is the world. And you just sow seeds to bear fruit for the kingdom.
Wherever you are.
And then it also says, like, even the heathen are kind and their own family and stuff. So it's really that to be a disciple, you have to go to the world that's outside of your normal
Right.
acquaintances.
So, good morning.
Good morning.
So, anything else stand out to you from Genesis 12?
Well, I was just going to say, it's obvious there's a cost to discipleship. And so when I look at these people like Paul, boy, they had a big cost. But here's what I see in these people: great life satisfaction.
Okay, so I don't disagree with the cost. What is the cost?
Well, the cost of not doing it.
No. What's the cost of doing it? Not the cost of, the cost of not doing it, that's, mercy. We'll talk to Jonah about that one. But what's the cost? What do you perceive as the cost? And this goes to Roy's question from earlier about the cost of discipleship. What, we have to give up. So, I mean, let's be real. What is the cost of discipleship?
That's for doing carnal stuff. For, spiritual stuff.
Family, friends. That's what it was here, right? Get away from your family. Get away from your father's house. Get away from everything that's familiar to you. Culture. Get away from all that.
Definitely.
You find a much better culture. That was kind of sad. Anything else that stands out?
Well, you have to sacrifice time.
Okay.
Can't help but to think, maybe I'm thinking wrong, but when I hear what's the cost of it, I think of the positive side. The cost, the peacefulness. So a good cost.
So the cost is you give up, I have to give up my anxiety. What? Is that the cost of discipleship, to give up anxiety? No, you just haven't paid it yet.
He's anxious about giving up angels.
Yeah. There's a cost involved. We're gonna speak to that here in just a minute. We'll get there. What do you imagine, question B, what do you imagine you would do with a calling like Abraham's calling verses?
I'd have so many questions.
Yeah. What about that?
I want to know everything.
I know.
all the time.
I'm not.
So let me give you a little glimpse into our life together. So today's Sabbath. So she's already worried about lunch next Sabbath.
Because she likes to have her wedding.
Because there needs to be a plan. Who am I eating with? What are we eating? Is there going to be? Are we going to have?
Do I need to bring mom?
Do I need to make other plans? Me? We're going to have a meal next time. And it might not be until now. This isn't true, but it could be that I don't even consider it until next Friday.
So,
Do I?
Men are from Mars and men are from Venus.
Men are from Mars, women are from Venus.
No, but my sister's the same way. She would be like, I don't, whatever, and I'm over here going, you know.
So it is a personality disorder.
Yeah.
Probably on both sides. Yeah, that's why it works.
so there's an appropriate amount of anxiety. Half of us have too much and the other half don't have enough. Some of us don't plan and some of us overplan.
So you agree with that? Would it surprise any of you that I disagree? I don't believe Christ was. And that's who we're supposed to be like, right? And he even says, thank you, birds, don't worry. Why are you worried? Grass, flowers, they don't worry about it. Why are you worried?
That's what I was gonna
Yeah.
say, because I get anxious if I don't plan. So I think
No,
that,
I agree.
yeah,
But there is that line. So instead of it being either you're anxious or you're not.
You got to
Yeah, I mean, there can be a responsible way.
I mean, if I've planned, I'm not anxious anymore, so, or I never was. If I'm planning, right, and that happens a lot.
So, again, your response, what would you do with a call like that? You said, I need more information.
Mhm. Same, I said I'd be questioning, where, what?
Okay.
Many people here would say,
Well, none of us are gonna say we would say.
who else, who would think to say that?
I don't know what I would do.
I think that's.
So that's.
I really-
I think that's probably, no, it's not no. It's not.
I wrote down pray, worry, ask why.
Pray.
I don't know what I would do. Unless I was very,
All right.
then it feels
No,
like.
let me clarify. It's usually the first response. Praise God, God doesn't take your first response.
That's true.
So it's a progression. So I'm saying it's not bad that you say no. That's your gut reaction. What? I can't leave my family. Then God comes again. Then comes again. Right.
Well, and something my mama does, and again, it's a worldview, and in life, when someone asks her something, she starts with no, so that she has a moment to think about it and think about whether or not she can say yes. Because it's harder to turn a no into a yes than it is to turn a yes into a no.
Easier.
Yes, easier.
So, does that sound familiar?
Oh, I say no to everything and then I think about it.
Just so you know.
That's
She
the
says
reason,
no to everything.
yeah, and that's the reason why, because you can change a no to a yes very easily, but backtracking from a yes, oh.
The one that comes to mind with me is when Jesus said to one of the disciples, throw down your nets and follow me and I'll make you fishers of men.
The response was, Lord, you might be a great preacher. You don't know anything about fishing. I've been
So,
fishing, and that's not how you fish.
Peter literally said no.
He literally said no.
so
He
for
said,
that,
but okay. No, but okay.
for that answer to marriage, you got no first, did you?
There's a story that
You did not get it.
I did not get in.
Did you get the whole yes?
I didn't even get a pause. Wasn't even a pause.
She is capable of it.
Just for me, because he knew that nobody else.
Gonna move on. Anyone else? I like Taylor's response because for me, I don't know. Except, and here's the thing that really turns this upside down for me. In verse 1, it says, "Now the Lord had said to Abram."
He was being asked directly.
There were no feelings. There was no, I believe the Lord is here. He heard and recognized
His
that
voice.
God was speaking to him. And for that reason, I would like to think I would make the right decision. That I would say, okay, I get it. The problem is that I believe we have become so dulled by society that when God does speak righteousness from his word into our heart, yeah. It's like somebody shared this is a person that we prayed for, and I'm very hopeful that one day he will make a video with us. He sent me this video. He goes, "Is this true?" Because usually when somebody says, "Is this true?" it's not true. And I can't just say no. Because if you just say no, that's not really. But it was this video about this guy saying, "You're not going to believe this, but science is in the Bible. And here we go. The speed of light is right here in Numbers chapter blah, 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 blah. And he says the speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. But it's actually 186,312, whatever. So, it's very specific. Miles per second. And right here in Numbers chapter whatever, verse whatever, and it numbers the, I think it's the fighting men of Judah. Or it may just be the men of Judah. And it's this many score and that many plus this many and that. So you add it up. It's 182,000. It's close. But it is not the same. Well, what this person was trying to show, that the exact number of the speed of light is biblical, so God understood science and he was foreshadowing for us support of the Bible. I'm sorry.
Well, the Bible says exactly what I wanted to say.
Pretty much. If that, and I'm sorry if that's, I know it's not, but I'm sorry if that's your attitude toward the Bible.
It's not mine.
Yeah, right. It's not yours, but where's the truth?
Actually, there's a little bit of it.
There's a little bit of that in all of us. I would like to think the same would be true in my life. It wouldn't be a feeling, but a direct involvement by God, making it easier to do as he asks. When Aaron and I lived in North Carolina, we had been married, we had just purchased our first house, and it was a fixer-upper, and we were young in love and fixing up a house that was built in the 40s, and then I got a job offer down here with my family. So I'm asking her to leave her family to join my wacko family down here in Georgia. And she was like, she hadn't learned to say no to everything yet. I guess I taught her that over the years. But it was, she didn't know. She didn't know. I was excited because, number one, I always enjoy change. I enjoy the moves. I enjoy rearranging in here and all that stuff. And for her, change is like demonic. And so I knew in my youthful wisdom, I knew that if we picked up and moved to Georgia, I would love it. It was coming home. But if she didn't, then I wouldn't either. So I needed to know that it would truly be okay for her. And so I said, what do you need to be sure that this is how God is leading us? Just so you know, I was not a Sabbath school teacher. I was not a Sabbath school attender. We were not regularly attending church anyway. Okay. I said, what do you need? She said, well, I guess if we put the house up for sale and it sells, that would be my sign. Said, all right, cool. And then come back to the conversation. I said, well, wait a minute. We kind of need to know, because if we put it up for sale, it was for sale 14 months before we got it. That's how it feels. And so, how long? And she said, does anybody remember?
I don't even remember.
I don't remember. 30 days, a month. If it sells in a month, then that's what she would need to know that God is. The next day we had a contract.
With snow on the ground.
With 4 or 5 inches of snow on the ground. So
Jesus said, yes, and by the way.
yes. So when we made the move, we sold the house and we moved down here. I think we're not going as we had planned. We moved down here. Did we ever curse God? We didn't. We knew that he brought us here, and even though we still weren't regularly going to church, we still weren't, I still wasn't a Sabbath school teacher. We knew we're here for a purpose. So we gotta wait for him to help us understand what that purpose is. All right, next one, Exodus 19, 3 through 6. Exodus 19, 3 through 6. So we had the call of Abram. Now we have a very different call. Just one book later in the Bible, a couple hundred years. No, sorry, 600 years or so. What do we have here? Exodus 19, 3 through 6.
Then Moses went up to God, and the Lord called to him from the mountain and said, "This is what you are to say to the house of Jacob, and what you are to tell the people of Israel. You yourselves have seen what I did to Egypt, and how I carried you on eagle's wings, and brought you to myself. Now, if you obey me fully and keep my covenant, then out of all nations you will be my treasured possession."
So now go ahead and read verse 6.
How far do I need to go? Okay. Although the whole earth is mine, you will be for me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words you are to speak to the Israelites.
Before we get to question A, trying to work through something in my mind here. I didn't see this before. In that first verse, thus you shall say to the house of Jacob and tell the children of Israel. That seems redundant. So why the redundancy? Because God is anything but redundant. He might be, so, okay, let me ask this question. Who was Jacob?
Israel.
Jacob was the son of Isaac. Who was Isaac? So this is Abraham, the guy that we just talked about being called away from his family. It's now his family, right? So who is Israel? I'm sorry?
Jacob became Israel.
Okay, so he was renamed Israel, right? His name was changed from usurper to what? Supplanter. To what? What does Israel mean? Look it up. Somebody ask Google, what does Israel mean?
Hey Siri. Hey Siri. What does Israel mean?
He who struggles with God or God strives. One who struggles with God.
And prevails. So we have one who he's grabbing his brother's. He's a twin, and he's grabbing his brother's ankle. It's like, no. And he was a deceiver. He lied to get a blessing, spiritual blessing. And God changed his name to Israel. So that's where the redundancy comes, because wouldn't the house of Jacob and the children of Israel be the same?
I wonder if the house of Jacob refers to the adults that were already in, and then the children is, but I mean, children as in learners, not as in kids, but as in, the young adult learners.
You're asking, what's the difference?
Yeah, why? It seems redundant, but we know that God is not. So the house of Jacob and the children of Israel, if someone were to ask me what's the difference, I would have said they were the same.
What time frame? I mean, because I think one became the other, but I don't think they were the same.
All right, so here's your homework. Write this down, take a note. Genesis 19, verse 3. What's the difference between house of Jacob and children of Israel?
Describing characters.
Sorry, Exodus. Exodus 19, verse 3. What's the difference between house of Jacob and children of Israel? All right, homework. Yes, it is class. All right, question A. How do you see discipleship being asked for in these verses?
God initiates it.
God initiates it, yes. Enough. How do you see discipleship being asked for?
Remember my safety. Trust and obey. That's a paraphrase of what the verse says to me.
Okay.
Well, for me, he told Moses to go do something, to teach or to tell. But in the verses that we read for Abraham, he just said, "Get up and go."
All right. So this isn't Moses calling. This is God calling the children of Israel to discipleship.
Gotcha.
Moses was down at the burning bush where he said, I can't really talk, so you need to pick somebody else because I'm slow of speech. I'm slurred. Nobody's going to listen to me. He says, fine. Your brother will speak for you. How about that? You do it for me now. Get your brother.
But isn't he saying that he needs to go tell the children of Israel?
Yes. So in other words, he's already accepted the role of disciple at the burning bush.
Okay.
And so now God is using him as a disciple to call the children of Israel into discipleship. Even though that term's that's not, it's actually a higher calling because he's calling them to be what?
This is after the.
Yeah, this is.
Gotcha.
He's recognizing that they need assurance, because he's telling them, if you do this, you're going to be my special treasure.
Okay. Yes. So what he's saying is, remember what I did for you. Remember what your life was like before me. How I did this, and I bore you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. And what I see there, bore you on eagle's wings, is it happened quickly and it happened smoothly. I mean, it wasn't smooth for the Egyptians, but all you did was pack up and take off. You didn't have to plan out anything. But God first gave evidence to his authority by reminding them who he delivered them from. Then he issued the terms: obey and keep. Right? And what would happen? If they did that, what would happen? They would be his own possession, a special treasure. And then he gave them purpose. Right? It's not just come on and relax. They have a mission. Priests and a holy nation. What a calling and desire for discipleship. So, question B, what does it mean to you when you consider being called to be part of the kingdom of priests? Oh, my alarm just went off. My alarm just walked off. What does it mean to you when you consider being called to be a part of the kingdom of priests?
Teachers.
Okay. A priest ministers between the people and a deity, God.
Mhm.
We were to minister. We are. between the unsaved populace and all loving Creator. We're a third-party investor, right? Because it does cost. It does cost us our time. We say we invest our time in something. We're called to minister between the unsaved populace and all loving Creator. And He, by the way, we don't have time to get into it, and it would be redundant for most anyway, but this calling, right at the beginning of Israel as a nation, is the same calling that Jesus gives at the beginning of his first sermon. The attitudes. He says, I want you here, he said, tells you, I want you to be a kingdom of priests. And when Jesus finally commits to his ministry, and not finally as in it took him long enough, but finally when the time had come, he had 30-some years to prepare a sermon. And what does he say? What's the first thing he said? Matthew chapter 5. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And when you read down through those Beatitudes, that we're supposed to be, that is he's reminding them of their calling in Exodus chapter 19. You are supposed to. So when you recognize that you're poor in spirit and you mourn, so I'm just gonna briefly go through this quickly. Verse 3, when you're poor in spirit and you mourn that condition, you become meek and you hunger and thirst for righteousness, and you become merciful, and your heart becomes pure, and you become peacemakers between others and God, so that they can then be poor in spirit. The cycle starts again. All of you, by the way, every one of you in here right now, is somewhere between verse 3 and 9. You're in there somewhere. All of us are right there. Either we are poor in spirit, or we are mourning, or we have become meek because of our understanding of the first two. Does that make sense? That's all being talked about. So Jesus, in Exodus 19, says you're going to be a kingdom of priests, mediators between God and the world. A kingdom of people who do this. And they absolutely failed. Absolutely did not do that. In fact, instead of actually being priests, they put up barriers between God and the people. And so Jesus comes back and he's like, all right, I've had this conversation with you guys once before. So let me remind you in a different way.
Do it again.
Do it again. I need you to be this.
And
Oh, yeah.
isn't that what we have to do with children over and over again?
Yeah.
Until they learn?
Okay, so we will pick up on question number 3, and I really look forward to next week because I have a completely new handout. It's a supplement to what we're doing. It's not the next lesson yet. It's something that we're going to go through next week as we talk about, get into the New Testament foundations of discipleship. Would anyone like to have a closing prayer? I would happily let anyone pray.
Father God, thank you that we can come together here this morning, that we can discuss and learn and be led to understand these things and have our discussions and talk freely. Be with us and every family represented here today as we go about our day. Help us to be a blessing to others as you have been to us. In your name we ask and pray these things. Amen.
So just to reiterate, sit aside and say, oh, I've already done the lesson, so I'm good for next week. I don't have to do anything else. I would encourage you to just start from the beginning again read through, because all the stuff that we talked about this morning might change your response to the questions that you had. Respond. And then we will, again, pick up. Read.
And we have more.
Don't forget the homework. Get home.